Nieces, nephews, everything in between and or otherwise, I have a confession. I have a Reddit account. And not only that, but I'm actually kind of active on it. I have no defense here. I just like the website. Especially because it gave me the idea to make today's video. On Reddit, there's this subreddit called r/Fortnite concepts, where people can submit their ideas for how characters they like can be implemented into Fortnite. Things like skins, emotes, back blings, and so on. We even have shoes now, which is crazy, but not as crazy as this. Awesomeness aside though, when I found this subreddit, my mind ran wild and I went to town, creating all sorts of concepts for characters I like. And I would annoy my two friends by posting them all in our group chat, where they pretty much never cared. But the character I was most excited about was Link from The Legend of Zelda. I mean, how could you not? Almost everything about him translates perfectly into Fortnite. An iconic look with tons of alternate styles that are nearly just as iconic. More than plenty of weapons to choose from for his pickaxe.
Actually, the official term is harvesting tool.
Silence, nerd! Pickaxe sounds a lot cooler. Funny enough, a pickaxe is one of the only tools that Link never uses in the series. There's more stuff that lines up, but I don't want to give too much away right now. But in the time between me making that Link concept and me getting over 1,000 subscribers from one YouTube video, no pressure, my brain has done a little bit of remodeling, and I'd like to take another crack at a Fortnite x Zelda collab. By changing some things and adding others, most importantly, more characters. Fortnite seems to favor trios when it comes to collabs, so we'll follow suit and introduce our three most iconic characters, Grog, Din, and Vaddie. I'm joking, of course, mostly. We're going to be looking at the Holy Trinity, literally, Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf. Fortnite collabs are all about iconography. So, with these three, we want to incorporate fan favorite elements like their designs and weapons. But to immediately contradict myself, I don't want things to be too obvious. I wanted to go for iconic, but I also wanted to leave room for creativity and some deep cut references. For example, and a slight spoiler, Link will not have his paraglider as his glider. Now hold on just a bit, I know it's super iconic and I know it slots in perfectly with no brain power required, but I think you guys are going to really like the alternatives that I came up with. They're a lot more creative and, more importantly, fun. Now let me finish the criteria so we can finish this long ass intro. Each character is going to have one main skin, 3 alternate edit styles, 3 pickaxes, 3 back blings, 3 gliders, and 3 emotes. As well as any other little thing, because Fortnite keeps adding random cosmetics. Why so many of each, you might ask? Because I love you, and I want you guys to have options, and I want you to have fun with mixing and matching items, I might answer. Enough questions, let's start the video, I might also say. Alright, starting us off is our title lady, Zelda. I had a lot of fun coming up with Zelda's pack, because despite her name being right there, every time in most games, we don't see much of her. And she just got her very first playable game. Yeah, right. Picking a main skin for her though was actually kinda easy. Between most games, her design only ever changes slightly. Except for the one game that decided to change everything. And that's why I've decided to use Breath of the Wild Zelda design. Kind of. More accurately, I'm using her early Tears of the Kingdom design. I only bring up the Breath of the Wild design because that's the game that familiarized us with this version of her. And the only real difference is that she got a haircut. I decided to go with this look for her because I felt like it would translate most easily into the Fortnite style. And also I think the shorter hair is cute. There are characters in Fortnite that wear dresses and skirts and stuff, but they often don't look great because the way that the dresses are done, they oftentimes clip in and out of the character's legs. So I think that Yoga Pants Zelda would work best as our main skin. As for her edit styles, I think there are only 3 acceptable answers here. Up first, we have the Zelda who never fought but always slayed, the iconic Twilight Princess Zelda. This is the only Zelda design that I'm hearing people still clamoring over to this day. And anytime that there's talk of a live-action Zelda, this design is always the one that people say a live-action Zelda should look like. Nintendo, take notes. With how serious and intimidating that design of Zelda is, let's take a step back and look at the girl next door Zelda design of Skyward Sword. This is one of my favorite looks for her. From these hair things to the amount of pink that she wears. different from her usual almost purple looks. I don't know how much I can say I like this design without getting into how I just like this Zelda as a character. Now I know I said that dresses aren't usually great and then hit you back to back with 2 dress styles, but I'll make it up to you by giving you chic as the last style. I'm trying to incorporate things from all over the series and not focus on the 2 big eras, those being the Ocarina of Time era and the Breath of the Wild era. But the problem with those eras is that they're really cool and it makes it hard not to want to use things from them all the time. So here we are with Sheik, the first Ocarina of Time element, but not the last. Sheik is just cool, and it's one of the rare times that we get to see Zelda, quote unquote, actually get to be cool on screen. And the chill, edgy design of Sheik slots in real nice with Fortnite. The pickaxes were a bit harder to come up with since Zelda isn't much of a fighter, though I was able to scrape around for some stuff. We'll start off with my worst idea, the light hands. Similar to that of the Zeus lightning bolt pickaxe, Zelda would conjure up some goddess light stuff to harvest materials. Yeah, I really wasn't joking when I said that it was hard to come up with these. Let's just move on to a decent pick. We're going to jump back into the doom and gloom of Twilight Princess because that is one of the rare times that Zelda actually has a weapon. I'm gonna hurt you. However briefly that may be. We don't have a ton of options, so we'll put it in here. And also, I like the idea of buying all 3 characters and their cosmetics, and then have Link use Zelda's sword. This last pick makes me happy that I didn't try to make a Zelda design way back then. Before we move on to the green guy, I want to give a quick shout out to Bowser the Flaming Shell for deducing that the blessing shrine in my last video, you should check that out, was the Usa Zoom shrine. Congratulations to you, and I love you. And a lesser shout out is going to go to Jeremy Man 6229, who guessed all of the blessing shrines, thus making him technically correct. I love you as well, but certainly less. And if you want me to love you, then make sure you subscribe and consider liking the video. Now, on to the Jolly Green. Moving on to His Majesty, the King of the Gerudo himself, the Green Meanie,
Ganondorf.
Did anyone else know that there aren't that many Ganondorfs? There's just a few from these different games, and then other games only use Ganon. And I know that a lot of times we use the names interchangeably, but they are distinct from each other. Ganon is the big pig monster, and Ganondorf is the man. Having only these few Ganons made it a little bit hard to pick skins and alternate styles, but I think we managed. For his main skin, we're going to be going with his Ocarina of Time look.
Ew.
Ugh, do we have any other pictures? Yeah, that's much better. This is easily Ganon's most iconic look. And here I am already using the names interchangeably. And for this skin, we're going to have to take his cape off, because Fortnite usually reserves capes for back blings. For our main skin, it was really only between 2 options, those being Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, because the other 2 options were the Tears of the Kingdom look or the Wind Waker look, and those are some big boys. And Fortnite models, more often than not, are usually about the same size so that they can rig them up more easily and have them set up for emotes and such. And yeah, Twilight's big bad is a bit on the bigger side, but I think it would fit in nice. We have characters like All Might who are huge, so it could work. The alternate styles really had me racking my brain because, again, we only really have 4 Ganons in the mainline games, and 2 of them are too big, so they're out. And then I realized we do have one really small Ganon. Even though we only see him for a short second, he was there, and he is Dehydrated Ganon. Some of you might say that he's too skinny and that's a dumb pick. And then I would say, I haven't even shown you the dumb pick yet. But before the dumb one, how about a really cool one? Yeah, Twilight's design's making it in after all. It is a damn solid design and it would be a shame not to use it. So I won't. Wait, I will. But with this style, I can say this will be the last time that I use any Twilight Princess elements. Probably. Maybe. Let's see. But yeah, I could not pass up an opportunity to use the most intimidating version of Ganon. So, he's here. And now, it's time for the dumb one. And you guys probably would say that I shouldn't even be including this one, but I would say, yeah, why not? That being CDI Ganon, who seems to be stuck halfway between forms, looking more bulldog than pig even. But I just could not resist putting him in here. I've been pretty mean to the CDI games, but unfortunately, they do exist, and they deserve some sort of representation. And here's the only time they'll get it. And also, I think it'll be pretty cool trying to see Epic adapt the CDI style into Fortnite. They're usually pretty good with that. On the pickaxe side of things, I somehow found this to be even more difficult, until I started thinking way back, and more recent. Let's start with the recent, with Ganon's double-sided spear from Echoes of Wisdom. It's a pretty cool design, especially with having blades on both ends. And it'll be pretty unique to Fortnite. We don't see a ton of spears in the game. When harvesting with it, the animation can be like that of Aang's staff, with both sides being used. And now we're going to go way back to A Link to the Past, how fitting, and fall into the final boss and see that his weapon of choice is a trident. And that's kind of become Ganon's most recognizable weapon. Not Ganondorf, but Pig Monster Beast Ganon. And it would reappear in other games. But in A Link Between Worlds, its kind of sequel, we see the version of it that will be translating into Fortnite, because the original look for his trident didn't really give us a whole lot to go off of. Plus, the U Ganon one is just so cool. But when I think of Ganon and weapons, my mind always goes back to that final fight in Ocarina of Time, before anything else. When Ganondorf is down to his last resort, transforms into Ganon, and materializes those huge dual swords to fight with. Those are my final pick for his pickaxe. Despite being on screen for such a short time, they left a lasting impact and have earned their spot here. Now we're going to snap back to reality. Oop, there goes Bling-a-Ling, and talk about the G-Man's back blings. And somehow this was even harder, but I think I came up with some decent ones. And one that people will either love or hate. Okay, I just added this right now as I was recording this, because I had people leave some really good ideas on this community post that I did. And 2 different people suggested that one of the back blings should be the Twilight Mirror, and I'm a fool for not thinking of it. They didn't say that, that's just something that's true. So yeah, big thanks to Kaizoran and Deity4648 for the idea. Deity also suggested that for each elim you get in a game, the mirror shield could glow, or it could put itself back together. What do y'all think? Personally, I like the glowing idea more. I think this next one can work for any of the trio, but I think it'll be fitting for Ganon to come out with it. It being the Triforce. It's pretty simple, but sometimes simple is all you want. Ganon has been chasing after these terrific triangles forever, so I figure we just let him have it this one time. It'd be static most of the time except for when you get an elimination. Then a golden light would start glowing from behind it, and then maybe also the royal crest could unfold from beneath it. And this is the part where I'll plug myself again, and say that you should subscribe. Because when I do make another community note asking for ideas, you could be in the next video if you have a good enough idea. This last one I'm really excited about, but people may not like it. But quickly, I have to explain something. Spoilers for Invincible, weirdly enough. So Invincible, there's this lion dude called Battle Beast, and he lives for the fight. And also, there's this dude Thrag, who is ruthless and kills anyone who gets in the way of his goals. And wouldn't you know it, they end up fighting each other. They fight for a week straight, and ultimately, Thrag comes out on top, having killed Battle Beast. Let's take a moment of silence for Battle Beast. But then Thrag starts wearing Battle Beast as a cape. Oh my god, I've never seen a cooler character design in my life. So my idea for this back bling is to emulate that design, but have Rauru be the cape instead.
But in their fight, Rauru actually beat Ganon.
That is not quite right. Rauru sacrificed his life to basically slow down Ganon for a long time until Link showed up to finish the job. Ganon himself even says,
Thousands of years will pass in the blink of an eye. You only delay the inevitable.
So Ganon basically did kill Rauru. And I like to think that he's a big enough hater that he would have worn Rauru as a cape, if his body hadn't long since decomposed. Also, this isn't even the first time that people thought this design should be used in Fortnite. Let's swoop into the glider section and start off with a pick that I'm actually pretty proud of, and that nerds will say makes no sense. Tears of the Kingdom's Hyrule Castle. Hyrule Castle floats above the pit, well, below Hyrule Castle. And it being up there was Ganon's doing, so it's only fitting that he gets to use it. Obviously, we'd have to scale it down a little bit and simplify the castle design, but after that, just have some tree roots sticking out the bottom to grab onto, and it's perfect. Except for the fact that it makes no sense, because Hyrule Castle isn't actually floating. It's being held up by a giant rock pillar that's usually covered up by gloom. But Rule of Cool is winning out here, and it's going to be a floating castle glider. But for even more Ocarina of Time representation, we're going to bring in Ganon's two moms with the combined name of Twin Rova, who are actually not lesbians, but sisters. Twins, specifically. We're going to keep them separated for this glider, instead of fusing them into their true mommy form. When you deploy the glider, we're going to have them come down circling you on their brooms, but then have them fly next to each other so that you can grab their brooms